Hello bachon. So let's read the question. The question says, match the column and find out the correct combination. पहले कॉलम में दिया है मायोसिन, एक्टिन, ट्रोपोमायोसिन और ट्रोपोनिन और सेकंड कॉलम में दिया हुआ है binds with calcium and starts the contraction cycle, moves away from the active sites, slides towards the M line during contraction, ATP binding site and changes shape during contraction. For this question is muscle contraction. Muscle contraction is called a sarcomere, which is a functional unit of muscle contraction. Further, a sarcomere is made up of myofilaments. ये जो myofilaments है, ये फर्दर दो तरीके के फिलामेंट्स होते हैं. एक होते हैं थिक फिलामेंट्स और एक होते हैं थिन फिलामेंट्स. The thick filaments consist of myosin and the thin filaments consist of actin. And together, these bundle of myofilaments, which consist of both myosin and actin, these bundle of myofilaments together form myofibrils. Sarcomere, जहाँ पे these are the thick filaments which are made up of myosin and these are the thin filaments which are made up of actin. The region where both thick and thin filaments are present, which is from here to here, is called the A band. A band में both thick and thin filaments are present. मतलब दोनों actin और myosin present होते हैं. Next is the I band, which is also known as the isotropic band. A band is the anisotropic band, I band is the isotropic band. And isotropic band में सिर्फ thin filaments present होते हैं या सिर्फ actin से बना होता है. Further, this region where only myosin is present or only thick filaments is present is called the H zone. तो H zone के अंदर सिर्फ और सिर्फ मायोसिन प्रेजेंट होता है एंड H जोन का जो मिडिल पार्ट होता है इसे M लाइन बोलते हैं. M line is a fibrous membrane to which the myosin is bound. Further, जो actin होता है, actin is bound to the Z discs. This is the Z disc. तो Z disc पे actin is bound और actin filaments are bound. With respect to this, एक Z डिस्क से दूसरे Z डिस्क में जो रीजन आता है उसी को सार्कोमेयर बोला जाता है. During a muscular contraction, the actin filaments, the thin filaments or the actin filaments, they move towards the M line. ये जो M line है, M line के towards actin filaments move करता है. So during contraction, actin filaments, or we can say the Z line or the Z disc, moves inwards or moves towards the middle of A band, which is known as the M line. The actin filament. Actin filament is basically, it is formed from two F actins which are helically bound together. and ये F actins are further made of G actins or the globular actins. F actins is the filamentous actins. There is another protein in the actin filament which is called the tropomyosin. This tropomyosin is also a filament which runs through the length of the F actin. Myosin के भी दो filaments होते हैं which run throughout the length of the F actin. Another complex protein called the troponin. These are distributed over the tropomyosin. ट्रोपोनिन होता है, इसका फंक्शन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है ड्यूरिंग मस्कुलर कॉन्ट्रैक्शन. ट्रोपोनिन बेसिकली is bound to the active sites of the actin filament, which prevents it from binding to the myosin heads. So जब तक actin filament myosin head पे bind नहीं करते तब तक contraction नहीं होता, और troponin जो होता है वो active sites को mask करके रखता है so that it does not bind to the myosin. जब muscular contraction initiate करना होता है, acetylcholine is released in the neuromuscular junction, as a result of which जो calcium होता है that is increased in the sarcoplasm from the sarcoplasmic reticulum, and this calcium binds to the troponin. Calcium binds to the troponin molecules, which results in the removal of tropomyosin from the active sites of actin. This results in the actin binding to the myosin heads and further resulting in muscle contraction of myosin is also polymerized. Myosin is also a polymerized structure which is made up of monomeric units called the meromyosins. Meromyosins के फर्दर दो पार्ट होते हैं, and tail. This head has the main functional importance, जिसमें जो head होता है it has an ATPase enzyme activity such that इसमें जब भी ATP bind करता है तो ये ATP को cleave करके ADP और PI release करता है and uses the energy for muscle contraction. So on the head there are two regions. One is the ATP binding site and second is the actin binding site. This actin binding site binds to the active site of the actins and finally result in muscular contraction. क्वेश्चन में सबसे पहले दिया हुआ है हमें मायोसिन. मायोसिन जो होता है, वी जस्ट सॉ कि मायोसिन के हेड में एटीपी बाइंडिंग साइट होता है. सो ए इज पेयर्ड विद 4. सेकंड इज गिवन एक्टिन. इन दिस डायग्राम वी सॉ जो एक्टिन होता है वो एम लाइन की तरफ मूव करता है. सो द एक्टिन इज द रीजन विच स्लाइड्स टुवर्ड्स द एम लाइन ड्यूरिंग कॉन्ट्रैक्शन. सो बी का हो गया 3. देन ट्रोपोमायोसिन जो होता है, ट्रोपोमायोसिन it basically moves away from the active sites जब troponin binds to the calcium. So C का हो गया 2. and troponin जो होता है, troponin binds to the calcium and starts the contraction cycle. So D is matched to 1. So इसमें A4 B3 इन दोनों में है, C2 होगा and D1. So the final answer for this question is option A. Hope you understood well. Best of luck.